We're going to talk really quickly about the top three things that I see killing deals from a home inspection report. So buyers get absolutely freaked out when they see the word mold or organic growth on that home inspection report. And I've got to be honest with you, I see it all the time because sellers just don't think about the crawl space. A lot of times you're thinking about the kitchen, the bathroom, carpet condition, that type of stuff. You're not thinking about the crawl space, okay? It's just what it is. In the South, crawl spaces are typically pretty humid, okay? Especially if they're not being monitored or maintained. That humidity level rises, then you got the potential for all sorts of stuff to happen, like mold. You've got insulation that starts to droop and sag and fall down. You've got the potential for wood destroying insects that are attracted to that wet, moist wood. And then the worst case scenario is then you got structural problems. Okay, so the crawl space is a big area of concern. It's a big area to keep an eye on. And it's one of those things that trips up deals very frequently. Probably the most frequent thing I've seen happen is moisture in the crawl space or mold, that type of thing, scaring the buyer away. So what you want to do is make sure you have somebody come in and check out that crawl space. Make sure you've got a good vapor barrier down on the ground. That helps to prevent that moisture from coming up from out of the ground. All right, another area that I see that kills deals, and this one kills them quick.
Structural problems.
I've seen the look of fear in buyers' eyes when that home inspector points out a structural issue. Okay, it can make them run faster than anything else. All right, so here's a few things you can do. If you suspect your home has got some structural problems, let's go ahead and get it looked into and checked out before you put that house up for sale. Hit it on the front end. And I'm going to tell you why. Because once you're in a real estate contract with a buyer and you've got their inspection period happening, and let's say they do find a structural issue with your house and they're not scared enough to walk from the deal or run, but they're going to want it fixed most likely, and you're going to have a limited time to get that stuff addressed. All right, and when you don't have a lot of time to handle something, that means you've got to go with the company that's available to do the work. And that doesn't always mean you're going to get a good price on the job or have the people that you want to do that job. So go ahead and have it checked out before you put your house up for sale. If you're suspecting things, if you've got doors that are sticking to the frames when you try to open and close them, or you've got some big cracking going on in the brick veneer on the outside, or maybe in the concrete slab, or you've got some displacement in some floors inside the house. Sometimes those things happen with just general settling of the house. But if it's exaggerated, if it's causing you concern, it's probably going to cause buyer concern. There's a few ways you can handle this. You can call a smaller general contractor company, like general contractor that's familiar with doing structural repairs, but maybe they don't have a big staff. Real deep marketing budget, all that. So those are typically going to be the most cost-effective type of company to go with. Then you got your larger companies that you see TV ads for or do a lot of marketing, structural repair companies. And not saying they don't do a good job, you're just probably going to you may pay a little more for their service. But I would get one or two, of either option to come out and take a look at whatever the issue is. Get their assessment of it, get their estimation of what it's going to cost to make repairs. Usually with the larger companies, you're going to have a really solid warranty on that work, which is good. Especially if that warranty will transfer to the next owner, then that way you've got paperwork that will go with the house to the next owner for them to have that structural repair warranted. That's going to give the buyer a lot more comfort level in buying that home. So you've got those two kind of types of company that I've seen in my experience. So either one of those is going to need, though, a structural engineer report. Some of the larger companies may have a structural engineer either on staff or affiliated with an engineer that they can get out quickly. When people hear engineer, they think, oh man, it's going to cost a ton of money to have an engineer come to my house. Well, it's not terrible. The structural engineer prices that I've seen have ranged from a few $100s for looking at just one small item up to maybe $750, $900 for a big assessment. Now, it may be different in that area you're in, or based on your situation, it may fall outside of that. But generally speaking, it's not that bad to have the structural engineer's report. That report's going to give the contractor what's called a scope of work. Okay, so the engineer is going to tell the contractor exactly what steps need to happen and what they need to do, and in some cases even what specific materials to use for that job. And then a lot of times at the end of the job, once the job's finished, the structural engineer will come back out and put his eyes on it, his or her eyes on it, and check out the job and see how well it was done, and to make sure it meets the specs of the job. Okay, and then they sign off on it. Another note there too is most of the time structural work is going to require some type of a building permit from the permit office. So you want to make sure if there is one required that the company you're hiring is going to get that permit for you, because you want any required permitting work on your house to be permitted. That way you won't have issues when you go to sell the house. Okay, so hope that helps. Like I said, if you've got suspicions of some structural issues, then go ahead and get them checked into, get them looked at, and address that on the front end of the deal. So you'll be much better off, in my opinion. Another area that I see scare buyers like crazy is termites. If there are termites found in the house they're buying, it will really freak them out. Okay, so hopefully you're already on some type of a plan with a termite or pest company where they come out and check your house annually for termites. If you're not, wherever you're going, the next house you buy, if it's in the south, get on one of those plans. It's totally worth it. You want to be able to stay on top of that, because termites can do some damage to a home in short order. So there's 3 areas that I see fairly frequently come up on a home inspection report that can absolutely kill the deal. The bottom line is you do not want your home inspection report on your house to look like this one. This is a home inspection report for a buyer client of mine that came back with showing some big red flags to the buyer, and they promptly terminated the contract after getting this report. This inspector found termites in the crawl space. You can see there an active termite tube. They also found organic growth in the crawl space, and even inside the house in a small area there on the ceiling. So the buyer freaked out, terminated the contract, and I don't blame them. The sad thing is that this seller could have taken some precautionary measures beforehand. That's I think the moral of this story. To have some professionals come in and check the crawl space out, check the house out, get things taken care of before putting that house up for sale. So if you haven't been in your crawl space in a while, you haven't had anybody take a look at it, you don't have a termite company that has a bond in place on your house, I would recommend going ahead and getting some people out to check things out, just to make sure those areas that you haven't seen in a while are okay, that there's nothing lurking there that could potentially derail your real estate transaction. A couple of other problem areas that I see fairly typically on home inspection reports are going to have to do with HVAC systems. So if you haven't had that checked out in a while and may want to do so. Roofing systems, it's very common to see a small roof leak here or there, especially with an aging roof. A lot of times those vent boots that are around the vents that come out of the roof deteriorate over time, and those are a big problem area for having leaks. So hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you decide at any point you would like to have a real estate professional come alongside of you and assist you in the transaction, please give me a call. Be happy to help, and we're here for you. Thanks so much, and good luck getting that house sold.